can tell. So hold me close. Don't forget me. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Oh, you'll be there when I get home. And you'll hold my hand until I go. You'll never be alone, as far as I can tell. So hold me close. Don't forget me. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Don't forget me. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Don't forget me. 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 Don't forget me.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Not My Face. Goodness me, what an absolutely terrible start to the stream this is. I didn't even turn my camera on. And 3, 2, 1, there we go. Hello, guys. Welcome to the stream. Absolute shambles, as you can see. Welcome, welcome, one and all. Michael, yes, apologies. Yeah, we were going to do it yesterday, but Mr. Nobbins' family came round, and then I was doing a basketball stream on Twitch. So it made it a little bit tricky in terms of timing. So I thought, well, it's better late than never. We'll do it today. Dust has settled, etc. And if you weren't aware of that fact, then you're not following me on Twitch. What are you doing? The Twitch is in the video description. We do more streams over there as well. But guys, we are discussing many things today. We'll be discussing the game itself against Chelsea, the 1-0, finally beating them this season for the first time. We're talking about sort of like, the role of a kanji in the game and maybe what that represents for the future of this club. Also, Kevin De Bruyne and Phil Foden's utilisation. Again, what does that suggest about the future? The performance itself, the potentially worrying nature of it. Will we see that go into future games for the remainder of the season? And I guess we'll also touch on our opponents, Man United, who have been obviously confirmed as our final opponents. Somehow getting over the mighty Coventry, just about anyway. But guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Yes to Mad Dog. Nicholas Jackson came in clutch, says Matty. Hello, Louise. Habibi NA. Phone's play in the middle. Please comment on how that works. Yes, Michael will be touching on that 100%. Hello, Terrell. Shout out to you. Louise says, I'm sure Pep must love you. I hope so. Jackson, no excuses, 100%. Hello, FI. Man U versus Coventry was crazy. United might be an easier finals as Mad Dog. And Matt says Doku played amazingly. He changed the game. Yes, and that's another thing I want to touch on, the Doku performance and how he's been pretty good the past couple of games now coming on. Hello, Waffles. How are you doing, mate? Just here to say congrats on winning the league for the next 6 years, because we are hooked. Yes, well, the Amarim news isn't. Maybe we can touch on that later. But again, guys, this is... I know it's technically a post-mortem, but we can still have a Q&A section. It can just be like a little bit more chilled out. So keep your questions, your comments, your statements coming in the chat. Do me a favor though, guys. If you're on the stream, if you're watching the video, please leave a like on the video. It takes a second of your time, and it really does help push out our content to other people, helps us grow. This is my job, so we do need to grow as much as possible to allow me to pay my bills. So thank you so much for that. Bruce says Foden was quite, yeah, we'll get into Foden, don't you worry. Ortega was clutch. And Daniel says Nobbins' opinion on a future midfield of Rodri, Paquetá, Foden. Now, doesn't that sound wonderful, Daniel? That would be my wildest dream. Just Anfield, and congratulations, City winning the FA Cup, says Ram. It's never that easy in a one-off game. And United are a weird team this season. Sometimes they're shite, sometimes they're actually semi-competent. So we'll have to see what sort of team comes up against us. I feel like with these streams, if there is something negative to talk about, I normally like to discuss the negative aspects, and then we move into the positive stuff. So we'll start by addressing that, shall we? I thought the starting 11 was mental in terms of it was so strong, like to a ridiculous degree. We just saw with our own eyes a few days prior, well, like 3 days prior, that these players had played 120 minutes of incredibly draining, intense football, not only from a physical standpoint, but also from a mental standpoint. So I thought there was going to be a lot of rotation. Maybe not, wholesale change, not, 11 changes or whatever, but I certainly thought the likes of Bob would start, Doku, Rico Lewis, Kovacic, Nunes, maybe. I thought Rodri was going to get a rest. Let's put it that way. I really thought Rodri was going to get a rest. I thought Foden was going to get a rest. Maybe De Bruyne, or at least one of those three. Turns out, no, none of them. And I'm sorry, but it was very, very evident that these players needed that physical rest, because after around the 20-minute mark, they looked absolutely drained and done from a physical standpoint. Rodri, again, kept giving the ball away. There's definitely some physical, maybe even some mental fatigue going on there. The defence just looked so out of sorts as well. The amount of times Chelsea got in behind us, and they were clearly fresh, ready, pacey players that we were dealing with, and we just couldn't deal with them ourselves. So I didn't really get why Pep went so strong. I have a theory, but I think that was potentially the wrong decision. I know it's resulted in a good result. I know it's resulted in a victory for us, but let's all be honest. The performance wasn't great, and I think it's safe to say that even with the penalty situation, even if we just ignore that, whatever you think about it, we probably almost definitely didn't deserve to win that game. No chance. We were not the better side at all, regardless of us winning the game. I think that's very important to say in the first instance. I think that maybe the reason why he was so... I don't know if desperate's the right word, but he was so eager to play such a strong side. My thought process is maybe it's because Pep wanted to give these players the sort of the chance, the responsibility to, get over that, get over that hump of, getting knocked out of the Champions League. So play the same players and see if they can play through it. And because if they ultimately do come through it and win with their heads held high, whatever, that'd be a massive mentality morale boost. That's the only thing I can really think about in because to hardly rotate at all. As I say, not even starting Doku, Bob, Lewis. I'm not saying you even have to bench all three of Rodri, De Bruyne, and Foden, but to play all three. Given the context, I thought was a little bit crazy. As I say, maybe the players wanted to. I'm sure they did want to play, but maybe it was more about we need to get them into a more positive state going into the final days of the season. And I know, again, I don't think we deserve to win, but it does speak to the mentality of the players that after that massive disappointment against Real Madrid, they were then able to go back out again and absolutely kill it and absolutely smash it in terms of, getting a positive result and obviously trying as hard as they could, but they just didn't have any energy and gas in the tank ultimately. So the gamble paid off in terms of outcome. Not sure it should have paid off, but ultimately it has paid off. And maybe the biggest positive recipient of that is Bernardo Silva, and that's why the title of the stream is, Bernardo bounces back. He missed the first penalty against Real Madrid. He missed his penalty, the first one we missed. So it was, I think, for him to get the winning goal in the FA Cup semi-final against a team who we haven't beaten all season, in a game where we were under pressure from minute one in terms of Chelsea and how they prepared against us. I think that's massive for him from a mental perspective. And again, hopefully the squad as well. We know how good they are mentally and from a morale perspective. Hopefully they've already bounced back from the disappointment in the Champions League. So that's like the only real negative I have. You did need any other negatives. You did need Walker on the pitch purely because from the pace perspective of like what Chelsea offer. I don't know if he played particularly well. I thought that he did do some good work in terms of snuffing out chances, but he's not really changing my mind in terms of what he now is as a footballer. He's becoming increasingly more limited as the months go by. I think it's safe to say, and this might be the summer where we do ultimately see him go. I know he's been linked to Saudi Arabia, for example, but there's still some interest from Bayern Munich. So this might be the summer to say goodbye to Kyle Walker, potentially. Certainly, I mean, if he's expecting a big role in the squad, then I think it has to be that. I think it has to be goodbye from my perspective. Hello, Jurgen, one of my beautiful members. How are you doing, mate? Ram says performance is not good, but they take the win any day. Oh no, yeah, of course we take the win. Ideally, you want a performance, but I'd obviously in a cup game, it ultimately doesn't really matter. What matters is winning in terms of like what you can and can't be happy with. That's for sure. Ab says, do you think we should have played Rico Lewis? I think so. Yeah. I was very surprised. I was very surprised that he didn't start, to be honest. Very surprised. I thought he deserved to start. Alas, it wasn't to be. Pep's obscene high lines killing City all season. It was a crazy... I did think that was mad. I think I agree with that. Yeah, we know exactly how Chelsea were going to play. We've played them twice this season and played the exact same way. And we fell into the trap both times, a trap of our own making. And again, we did it once again. Thankfully for the first time we got the win. But was it deserved? Was it warranted? Probably not. But you know, in the FA Cup, I suppose it's more about just getting over the line, and actually doing it. Thankfully for us, Jackson, his seems to have misplaced his finishing boots all season. There were so many moments where it was whether it's Chilwell or Mudryk or whoever, they were running down the left or right wing. All they've got to do is play the relatively early cross in, and Chelsea have a 1v1 opportunity. But they didn't do that. It was a really weird situation there. Hello, Gills, how you doing? Got to take into consideration whether or not the players themselves want to rest. I'm sure they don't want to. Unless they're like, injured or feel like they're drained. But in general, players want to play. Like Vincent Kompany said this, like someone was asked about him, do you want to get rested every other day, whatever? And Kompany was like, as a player, you want to play. I always want to play no matter what. But a player always wants to play, that's fine. But you also need to manage their fitness, don't you? I think that's safe to say. Sean says, we could have lost with too much rotation. Pep made the right call. But Sean, what if Jackson converts one of those chances? Then because as he latches onto a tired, leggy Rodri pass or Rodri getting dispossessed, it looks good now because we won the game. But let's all be honest with ourselves: we were not the better side, and we didn't really deserve to win the game. So I don't know if it is the right call, to be honest. Again, that's looking at the outcome, not the actual journey. Ram says Brighton's not easy because of fatigue. Mike says a huge confidence gained from a difficult win. Watch us steamroll all games till the end of the season. Mike, I hope you are correct. Elba says we've had a good 5 days rest. The players will be all right. I hope so, mate. I actually predicted Coventry to go through, but VAR intervened. Yes, indeed. Fusk says, what do you think about the KBB phone? Yes, I think that's the next thing I want to chat about. Do you see Guevara staying wide long term? No, I think that we will. I do think that ultimately we will be signing at least one proper fullback this summer. It's not even close. The answer's Messi. Pep makes Walker play in a way he can't execute. Yeah, I don't know, Mad Hatter. I think again, City have outgrown Kyle Walker. I think that's safe to say. A 4-0 win, says LB. That is bold, but I like it. Pep's got big balls indeed. Who in our team could do the Bernardo role if he leaves? No one currently. We'd have to sign someone to do that. Ram, what the hell? That's not very nice. And LB says, it's a cup game just about getting the W. Yeah, of course, that's the ultimate result, but we can still definitely talk about the journey. Jack says, I wouldn't even say converting them. What if we just shot? Yeah, that one angle. I know the angle you're talking about, Jack. That is a madness. Yeah. Let's maybe talk about like, the future of Man City. In terms of what we saw in that game, maybe we are starting to see like what the future might hold for Man City. This is maybe what I was most interested and excited about the performance the other day, because even though, like, as I say, I don't think it was particularly good, there were still some really interesting moments. The two main ones for me, no, there were three key ones. There was Doku's cameo, there was the dynamics of De Bruyne and Foden, and there was the role of Akanji. Let's start with the Foden De Bruyne situation, shall we? Because we set up, so the starting lineup came out, and I imagined it was going to be a similar situation to, how we started the Real Madrid game, for example. So, you got Bernardo in the middle with De Bruyne, Foden popped out on the right. But no, from minute one till the end of the game, it was just Bernardo Silva out wide, and it was Foden and De Bruyne in the midfield. The fact that Pep was happy to do that in an FA Cup semi-final, and the fact he was happy to do that from around the 60th minute onwards in the Real Madrid game, I think speaks volumes to what we should expect to see, maybe for the remainder of the season, but certainly for next season. What I was most interested about, because we've seen them play together when we've had the ball. What I was most interested to see was how is this going to shape up without the ball? And for the most part, it did look like De Bruyne went back to partner Rodri in that centre of midfield. So occasionally it was Foden, but for the most part it was De Bruyne, which I thought was very, very interesting. So maybe De Bruyne's fitness situation isn't as actually dire as I thought it was. Maybe he can, going forwards, play alongside Rodri in that more box-to-box situation without the ball, as he has done in years ago. Hasn't for a while, obviously. So that was really interesting, and it's really encouraging from a Foden De Bruyne dynamic. He clearly thinks it can happen. He clearly wants it to happen. It's not a case of only one of them can play midfield. Pep is demonstrating that it can happen. So I was very happy to see that dynamic. I was also very happy to see Doku. Let's talk about Doku's cameo. That's now the second game in a row where Doku has impacted the game by coming on as the sub in a positive manner and immediately just makes City look a lot more electric and threatening. And it's so good to see, because there was a period where like Doku went through a bad spell, like sort of after he got an injury, came back, and then he just didn't look confident. He was making the wrong decisions continually. But that is now two big games in a row where he's come on and made the difference in one way or another. And it's so interesting to see that, like, the fact that he's such a different player on the left compared to the right. I think he has an easy time on the right, and long term I do think that he should be a right-sided player. But it's so good to see that, again, he can break games, as they say, off that left side, or he can just be a really good creator off that right side. Gusto didn't really want to deal with him. And when you consider how rapid that progress is, do you remember how badly Doku struggled against Reece James and Gusto in the Chelsea games earlier in the season? Now suddenly he's making them look pretty mediocre. I was really happy to... I was just really happy to see that immediate development in his game. And once again, guys, this is his first season. This is Doku's first season for City, and it's much better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a lot... You know that bad period he had? I thought that's what we were going to have like all season. But no, that's been sandwiched in between a good start and what's turning out to be a really good finish. For now, and for the remainder of this season, I don't think he should start. I do still think he should be that impact player. I still want to see Grealish start, Bernardo start out wide, whoever it is. But next season, as Musty says, Doku's a starter next season. I think I agree with that, and it's so good to see that development already. He's only going to get better. He's clearly got all the talent in the world. He's got the right skill set. He just needs to be nurtured, and that's exactly what Pep's going to do for him. So we've got a very, very good player on our hands. Elvis says, Brighton are full of injuries. Do you see how much space there was when they played Arsenal, hopefully they can maintain that. Hello, Ram. Where's my invite? Shut up. Hello, Musty. If the result was always for whatever team deserved to win, we'd win the treble. Yes, indeed. For the most part, anyway. I mean, to be fair, against Chelsea, I felt we didn't deserve to win, but who cares? Because we did. We're only at 30 likes, guys. That's not good enough. Let's get up to 50 likes at least. Come on now. Hit the like button. If you enjoy this content, hitting the like button helps get it out to other viewers, helps to grow the channel. Keep your questions and comments coming in. If you would like me to react to them / answer them anyway. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Fuskan asks, do you think we need better crossers at the club? Seems like De Bruyne is one of the few that can put in a good cross. Yes, I've discussed it. We definitely need this arc, whatever like term you want to call it, of using 4 centre backs has been cute. It's been cute. It's been interesting. But it limits City offensively. In theory, it's very good defensively, but we've seen the issues where Walker's been forced to play at right wing or Gvardio's been forced to play at left wing. It heavily limits City, and it limits our output and it limits our creativity. We definitely need at least one offensive fullback. I would like 2, to be honest. I think that we just need to... I'd probably, in an ideal world, I'd probably like to see us move on from Walker now. I think if we're going to continue, if the option is use him, keep using Walker in this manner, or not use him, I think I'd rather just not use him. I don't think it's preferable. I don't think it's ideal. I don't actually know who that, and I don't know who would be a good alternative at right back. But the profile of what we need is ideally a right back who can play as a centre-back, just in case, but is also good going forwards. That's the ideal profile. I don't fully know who that could be, personally. I've not looked into it enough. I can think of a centre-back who I think would be able to do the John Stones role very well and could play right-back out of possession, but he's not a particularly good creator. So I'm sort of going away from this name I had in my head for months. I now think that maybe we don't actually need him. I know that we've got that guy, Akuto, I think he's called, on loan at Girona. I've no idea if like Pep's going to fancy him or not. He's been linked to Real Madrid as well. I don't know if he's the exact sort of player that we are after. I don't know. I don't watch Girona, so I don't know nearly enough about him. I'd like him. I'd like to try him out as an experiment, but it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one, but yeah, at least for me, the left back is the more important position, because then it means that whoever's at left midfield can tuck into the middle when the left back pushes up. If that's how we're creating the box midfield. So whether that's Grealish on the left, we know how deadly he can be, like driving in the middle, or Foden out on the left if he's still not trusted to be in the centre. And it's probably not even a case of trust. It's more a case of, if we hopefully get like a Paquetá, we don't really need to have Foden alongside Roger. We can have Paquetá, Bruno Guimaraes, whoever that player might be. So for me, that's why a left back is more preferable than a right back. You can have Foden at right midfield technically, but I prefer him tucking in from the left rather than the right. So a left back is... Signing an offensive left back is a path to getting Foden centrally every single game, basically, and we don't have to have a debate about, is he starting out wide? That solves the problem immediately if we actually have a proper attacking left back who can do that job. Musty says, how confident are you City will win the league? I'm still at 50%. I'll still be at 50% until one of the teams drop points. How do we lose to Real Madrid, says Muha? I've done a whole post-mortem on it, mate. DZ says, are we getting any playmakers as De Bruyne replacement this summer? I think that Paquetá is sort of going to... A combination of Paquetá and Foden will recreate De Bruyne in the aggregate, if that makes sense. No one's going to be able to replace De Bruyne, absolutely, because De Bruyne is a one of a kind. He is, in my opinion, the greatest midfielder in Premier League history. It's going to be impossible to replace him. But you can certainly try to recreate his attributes. So the reason why I say Paquetá is because mainly of the like the through ball angle and the long and the large space creation metrics. That's basically what I'm interested in when it comes to Paquetá. I think that could be very, very lovely and desirable. But yeah, we're never going to outright. We can never outright replace him. We cannot replace him because it's Kevin De Bruyne. Hello, Nitin. Your ideal right back choice. Who will be good defensively? Yeah, that's the question, Nitin. I don't know. I've not looked into the right back situation enough. The left back I'm much happier with. I know who I want. Right back I'm not 100% because again, I know people have suggested Frimpong, from Leverkusen, but as I understand it, he's essentially that would be brilliant on the ball. But as I understand it, Leverkusen play a back 3/back 5 without it, so he's not actually a right back. Technically, he's more of a right wing back / right winger. So I don't know, unless we change our system, I just don't know whether that would be ideal. Maybe he can be taught to be a bit more defensively astute. I don't know, but ideally, again, I'll say it again, the ideal profile for my right back is someone who is comfortable who can do a job at centre back, who is obviously mainly a right back, but is also comfortable basically playing as a right winger when we have the ball. So an offensive, creative fullback who's also capable of doing a job at centre back is the dream. I don't know if there's a right back out there who fits that profile. I haven't looked into it enough. If you guys have got any names, let me know. Maddox says team seems to improve on set piece. Yeah, wait. I mean, the corner situation is a little bit mad, isn't it? Doku Super Sub has a major impact as ability to play both sides. Yeah, and it's brilliant. Yeah, on the left, he's this impact player who can break the game at will. On the right, he's this brilliant creator, or can be certainly. Walker's performing against Chelsea. Must have said it was a generational stinker. Why do we not convert our corner opportunities, Luis? I do not know. The delivery's not particularly good, but then our players aren't really attacking the ball in a particularly good manner. Shout out the stuff. No, I've not watched any Bologna, I'm afraid to say, Shido. Not watched any of him, but he plays right wing. We're not after. I guess we probably do need a winger as well. I know we bring in Savio. We might be after another one though. Dunk says right back market isn't saying much. Who's really out there seems more like wing backs on the market. And there's nothing wrong with them being a wing back, but they do obviously need to be comfortable in a back four without the ball. This is why, like, DeMarco, left wing back for Inter, it'll be fun, but once again, he's a wing back, not a full back. Bernardo probably leaving. I think that's probably likely. Gomez is supposed to be one of the best offensive left back prospects out there. Well, as I understand it, I mean, Gomez isn't even a left back, he's more of a midfielder. Frimpong good at attacking, but can he use his pace for defending? Yeah, it's more the out of possession that I'm a little bit concerned with. Hello, Tinsey. Doku, Paquetá, Foden, Bob. That would be lovely. We have Gvardiol. Why we're looking at another left back? Because Gvardiol isn't a left winger. He does as good as he can. You know that, like the Arsenal game, for example, when he was basically playing at left wing. He did as good a job as he could do, but ultimately Arsenal knew that he wasn't going to provide any crossing offensive threat because he's a centre back at the end of the day. So that's why I'm looking at an actual left back who can actually attack. That's what we're after. To be fair, no, actually, yeah, Shaf, yeah, you raise a good point. I would love a fit Reece James, but one, I doubt he's ever going to leave Chelsea. Two, injury concerns. I think the best option actually might be Gusto. In terms of players I am aware of and are on my radar, Gusto would be brilliant. Unbelievable defensively, out of possession. Brilliant in respect of crossing, good going forwards. He's only just signed for Chelsea. Realistically, are we going to be able to get him? Is he even going to want to join us? Maybe not, but that would be a really good shout, Gusto or Reece James. That's the sort of player that we are after. Who City Galactico signing Virtus Musiala, someone else club need one to compete with. Madrid, hopefully, Paquetá. Hello, Martin. How are we doing, mate? Do you think rumours around Pep not re-signing will affect signings? I mean, to be fair, Martin, I don't even know what those rumours are, but there's no doubt that Pep has a lot of pull. There's no doubt about that. But Thank you so much, Tinsy. Incredibly generous of you. Thank you so much for the super chat. You've activated my fraudiola filter and Evie having a little dance. Hall and Alvarez, Doku, Foden, Paquetá, Stone / Rodri, Carvalho, Ake, Diaz, Akanji, best offensively, defensively, and everyone's playing to their strength. Is that your squad, or is that like a starting 11 that you've given me? I think that's just like a squad. Is it? Yeah, we'll sort it out this summer, guys. Don't you worry about it. I'm very convinced of that. It's going to be a big summer, But yeah, thank you so much for that super chat. Tinsy, very much appreciate. You don't have to do super chats, guys, to get involved in the conversation. But let me tell you, every single tip is mentally appreciated. Thank you so much. I must say the shirt looks clapped. I can't lie. It looks absolutely clapped. Why are we soft in the penalty area? Can you elaborate a bit more on that, Carl? What does that mean? I expect Arsenal. No, I don't expect. I don't. The three teams. I expect City and Arsenal and Liverpool to all drop points in at least one game. I'd be very surprised if City ended up winning 9 in a row in the Premier League. Could happen. But I think that at least 2 points are dropped by every single team from now until the end of the season. Maybe 4 for one of those teams, but I think at least 2 for everyone. Was there anything else specifically I wanted to talk about, touch on the Chelsea game before we just like make this a purely Q&A stream? We touched on it, yeah. So Doku, Akanji, that was the other one I want to do. Oh yeah, Martin, yeah. If you want to, he's sliding into my DMs. Yes, Akanji. Because I was talking about life after certain players and like maybe like the future of Man City. It's pretty evident that John Stones can't be relied on across an entire season. That much is evident. I don't know what his record is in terms of starts in the Premier League or starts in all comps or months without an injury, but he is clearly not reliable in respect to fitness. And that's very sad, obviously. I mean, he's already an unbelievable player, but imagine if he didn't have any injury concerns, he'd be up everyone in respect of their estimations of centre-backs. So a contingency does need to be in place. Now, again, our fullback conversation, that is one such contingency. Because if you've got an attacking fullback, then you don't need to have a player do the John Stones role. But in games where we would want to do that, so it's always good to have that option. That's the thing. It's good to have that option. So the solution is we either need to sign a player who can do what John Stones can do, or we look internally. Rico Lewis, I can obviously do the John Stones role. He obviously can to a degree. The main issue with Rico Lewis is, well, there's two factors. The first factor is one of physicality. Pep doesn't really like him in there because he can get bullied in terms of him being quite frail and small and slight. I think what might be the bigger issue, however, is unlike Klopp and Arteta, who really like inverting from fullback, Pep does not like doing this. Pep is very averse to doing this. I don't know if he's ever revealed why. My theory is that it's to do with... Because if you think about a centre-back going into that midfield alongside whoever the defensive midfielder is, and then you think of the transition into that and the transition from that into the out of possession shape. My theory, again, if someone can confirm whether Pep's touched on this before, I'd be so fascinated to hear, because I don't think he's ever touched on it. But my theory, my assumption is that it's a lot easier for the centre back to go into. It's easier for the centre back to push up into midfield than it is for a full-back to push up, because if you think about going from that to the out of possession shape, it's much easier for the centre-back to just drop and the right-back to just go out wide than it is for... They'd have to go around. Does that make sense? And that just introduces like an extra transitional weakness, if that's the right term. So that's why Wait, what's this, Tinsy? Check the lineup. I said Stones can be Rodri's backup if we don't get Kimmich. Stones can be Rodri's backup if we don't get Kimmich. Ake or Gavai can be centre back. Akanji right back. I don't think that Stones can be a defensive midfielder. I'm afraid, Tinsy. We saw it against Aston Villa. He's not an out. There's a big difference between being an out-and-out defensive midfielder and being a centre back who progresses into midfield. So I don't personally like that as a solution. So that's why I think like Rico Lewis maybe long term. Pep doesn't fancy him as much in that as a John Stones alternative. So the long and short of that, guys, is Pep prefers a centre back going into midfield. I think because of the reason I've just outlined, because of the potential transitional weakness. Up steps Akanji. Now, of our centre-back options, Akanji wouldn't have been top of the list. He probably would have been second on the list, to be fair, but I would have thought Gvardiol would have been the one who would have been trialled in that Stones role. He's not, but Gvardiol's not played that at all this season, not been trialled in that at all. Whereas Akanji, I mean, we saw it against Chelsea. Even when Stones was on the pitch, it was Akanji being asked to be that more free role. Again, does that point to him trying to give him a bit more experience in that role, and having that responsibility, because he knows that Stones isn't a long-term, a reliable option potentially. That's a theory. I thought Akanji did a really good job at it. He's still got a lot. It's the Manu role now, says Musty. There's still a long way to go, but I am really impressed with. I was impressed with his performance against Real Madrid, and I was impressed with it against Chelsea. Is it optimal? I don't think so. But to see it as a genuine option, and hopefully with Pep's coaching, because again, remember guys, this is the first season he's done it in non-ideal circumstances. So hopefully, in the summer, with more coaching, he can become even better at it, and that gives us, and that puts us in a situation where it's not like a weakness to play Akanji in that role. It's actually all right. I still don't think it's the best solution if Stones is out. I still think that maybe a fullback would be a better solution going out wide, but it is an option. That's for sure. So I'm really happy to see I might do a YouTube video. I might do like a separate YouTube analysis video on this. I'm really happy to see the evolution of Akanji in like this past few games. Again, is it ideal right now? Maybe not. Given the context of the John Stones situation, injuries, lack of availability, lack of reliability, I feel like Akanji's hardly ever injured. Conversely, so it might be the future, maybe. If it's a bit one, Pakataro or Bruno, who do you pick? No picking both. Don't think we'll get both. I think we will get both. I think we need to get both. If I can only have one, I'd rather go Paquetá. If you're pushing me. And then can we get João Neves or someone like that? Why not Kimmich? We could get Kimmich. It just doesn't interest me as much. I think he's a little bit too similar to Rodri. Not really sure that he's the best option. It's not a bad option by any means, but for me, it's not the best option. I don't know. The 016 one is Manchester's area code in respect to phone number, so I guess that's why on the collar, but yeah, terrible. Shout out to say, yeah, guys, make sure to smash that like button. Make sure to smash that like. We've got around 100 people watching. Let's get up to 75 likes now. Come on, chaps. If you like my content, leave a like on the video. It helps me out. We didn't want to get involved in the penalty area. I think it depends which. If Ruben Diaz is on the pitch, he definitely does want to get involved. Marta says club won't get Wirtz. Major kickback from Bayern and Musiala, and they want him still. Musiala still contracted. Has 1 year kicker. Min 150 for Musiala. How do you know all this, Martin? To be honest, I'm not upset about that. You guys know my thoughts on Wirtz and Musiala. Brilliant players, fantastic. I've said it numerous times now. I don't particularly want them. If we were going to get them, I'm not going to get upset, because obviously they're brilliant players. But for the reasons I've outlined many times, there are much better profiles out there. We don't need Wirtz. We don't need Musiala. It'd be nice. Brilliant players. Love watching them, etc. But I don't think that's what would be ideal. Do we need another 10 other than Paquetá? So I don't think so. As long as De Bruyne doesn't go, because then in terms of like more of our offensive midfielders, we'd have Paquetá and we'd have Kevin De Bruyne and we'd have Phil Foden. So I think that'd be great. Jason says he has to move diagonally, whereas the centre back has a straight path into midfield. Prime cover for the full back position is easier to do as well. You would imagine. Yes, Jason, that makes total sense. I think that's, yeah, I think you've echoed what I touched on there with like the centre back situation. I'm surprised that like Arteta hasn't like tried to see if like Saliba can do that, for example. Maybe he's not good enough to do that. I don't know, but it does surprise me that Arteta's not really attempted it. He's always insisted on the fullback, whether that was Partey playing at right back, Zinchenko, Ben White. He's never really done it with a centre back. Same with Klopp. It's always been Trent or Gomez, but starting from a wide position. Bringing Yamal as outlaw. No. Big up to you, Herbal. Kanji's not on Arteta level. Arteta level? Don't know what that means. This season, it feels like Pep has been playing guys out of position all year. Hopefully, it's a give match experience. This season does seem to be a massive experiment, doesn't it? Like once again, he's not really. He clearly doesn't know his best 11. Manu's definitely been our best defender, 100%. Hello, Alec. Hello, all. Can't we have FA Cup now? Rex to and smacked. I hope you're right, Alec. Do I follow chess? No. I know how to play chess, but no. I'm sad we didn't win against Madrid, says Hardy. And it's a shame. It's a shame, but we are, guys, again, not only are we still on now, not only are we still on for winning 4 in a row, we would all, if we did win the Premier League and the FA Cup, we'd be the first team to ever do that back-to-back. No one's ever done it in English football history. If you don't bring Roger back up, I don't know what this club is doing. Under Paquetá, they're not even serious when we need so many players, Nobbins. It will be big. It will be a big summer. I'm very convinced of that. You don't even like need to have. I don't have any connections. I wish I had connections, but I wish I was into the Matrix. I wish I knew people who knew more than me, but I sadly I'm not privy to that information. But you can just tell it by virtue of the squad and what status the squad is in. Like it needs a few big players to come in. So, and I'm sure we will do that. We'll wait out on Xavi, I think. How good do you think is Paquetá? He's brilliant. He's the one for us. I can only smash once. Yes. Yes, but if you haven't smashed it, guys, make sure to leave a like on the video, guys. Any thoughts on João Neves? So I've not watched any Benfica, but people who I respect tell me that he would be a really good Gundogan replacement. So if we can't get Bruno, I know it's very expensive. If we can't get Bruno Guimaraes, I would love to get him instead. Hello, Rene. Kimmich worked with Pep before, could play right back at DM with lots of GA. He's the ideal one for me. I'm more after an 8-6 rather than a right back 6. Although Kimmich can do 8 as well. But again, a little bit too similar to Rodri for me. In terms of like when he's in midfield anyway. How do you see our creative work get sorted out next season? Brie or Bre is that? It'll get sorted out if Paquetá comes. I'm very convinced of that. People aren't putting enough respect on De Bruyne's name. He's been hurt this year and subpar, but still great. He was the best player in the world last season. Yeah, if we can keep Kevin, that would be gorgeous. That'd be a gorgeous time. Thoughts on the rumors Pep's not going to renew his contract? I hope it's not true, Sohan. I really hope it's not true. Yeah, I don't even know if Pep knows, to be honest. What are you talking about? They are generational talent. Knockoff player Paquetá. It's not a question of talent, Nitin. I'm not even going to argue with you about who's the better player versus Musiala or Paquetá, because one, I don't even know the answer, but two, even if we were going to assume that Paquetá's the worst of those three, it's not about talent. Don't get tricked into a PSG mentality. We need to sign players who fit. We need to sign the right profile of player, not just who is the best player. There's a big difference there. You can have a squad full of brilliant players, but if they don't meld well with and gel well with one another, then what's the point? The reason why we don't, in my opinion, need Wirtz, we don't need Musiala, is because they are far too similar to what we already have. Whereas Paquetá is not similar to anything we have following the departure of Gundo. That's the point. It's not to do with who is the best. It's to do with who is the right player. Not the best player, the right player, and squad building and balance. That's the situation. Daniel says they want Verts and Musiala, but well, Foden play it then long term. And that's the other point, isn't it? If we sign one of those two, it would massively stunt, you would think, Foden's central development, or it would mean that we are signing Verts, Musiala to play one of them out wide, which wouldn't make any sense to me. He can play on the wing, Daniel, but that's such that's like, I feel like that's like playing Foden out wide. It's just a waste, and it's not a good utilization. Can we go to the academy and build that 6-8 player? I mean, you can't just snap your fingers. We need someone who's ready now, Mad Dog. Now. It's not as easy as that. I've heard good things about him, Eric. Will we eventually see someone like Branthwaite, or does this a cancer role? I don't think we need Branthwaite. I love Branthwaite. We don't need him. He's a left-footed, left-sided centre-half. We've got Ake. We've got Gvardiol. I like Branthwaite a lot, but City do not. Again, it's a question of squad building. We don't need Branthwaite. It would be lovely to have him, but what's the point? He'd be wasted at City. For his sake, he shouldn't come to us. Mars says, if we won left back, right back, 2 midfielders, Branthwaite talking 400 mil, not sure we spend that. Will be fee outgoings. Yeah, I think I can see 4 or 5. Maybe 3 proper first teamers, that sort of thing. Because we got to remember, guys, Pep likes a small squad. Mark Goldfish, brilliant. How's there's not enough push from City side and too much grit from Bundesliga to pull Verts and Musiala. And again, you guys know my thoughts on those 2 players. Herbal says we need some hybrid players who can cover multiple positions. And Pep said this before, he loves hybrid players because he loves having a small squad because he doesn't like players to be unhappy. This is why the Paquetá one makes so much sense, because he can play like 4 positions. He can play alongside Rodri. He can play ahead of Rodri. He can play on the left. He can play on the right. He can do all of that to a very good standard. Like Bernardo Silva, I think that Paquetá would replace Bernardo Silva's utility probably. And just going back to like the 8-6 situation, that's why we need an 8-6, not a 6. When Silva left, replacing with Gundo was already in the squad. Same with Foden. We already had Rodri. Keeps long to replacement as Foden. Simple as that. Yeah, Foden and a mix of Foden and Paquetá, in my opinion. Club will have to get Musiala out of Verts. Again, listen, for the reasons I've outlined, I don't think that is accurate. If you want to play Musiala on the wings, mate, you are wasting him. You are wasting Musiala to shove him out on the wing. In the same way that playing Foden on the wing would be pointless. Spot on. We don't need names. Yeah, I totally agree, Martin. Paquetá and Kimmich fit the system perfectly. Savio's a little baller. Yeah, I'm very excited on the Savio one. He's definitely going to go out on loan, surely, for his sake. Will Pep go back to pacey 1-4 wingers, good end product, like we saw when Arsenal Madrid did a low block? We've brought in Doku. We've already signed Savio. That's confirmed. There might be another wide player that we're going for, so that does look to be the way. I think Stone's going to continue to have injury issues. Now he's in his 30s. That's where I think Branthwaite comes in. Says off meta. Oh, so you think he's going to be a Stone's replacement, do you? I don't know if the ball playing is there. That's the only concern. I haven't seen enough of it. It used to be, if you do bad, you sit, but Pep doesn't have the control this season with Haaland, Walker and Grealish. De Bruyne, yes, it's not been an ideal from a squad building perspective. Some fans are focused on names and what suits with, and this is why I'm pushing back on Musiala and Verts, guys. These are players who excel in small spaces and who excel at creating in small spaces. They can obviously do more. Like, I'm not saying they can't do more, but that's where they excel. That's not what we need right now. We've got Phil Foden at home. Unless you want to get rid of Foden, or unless you want to pop Foden out wide, and if you want to stunt the development of these players, then we should sign one of these two. For me, outside of that, I don't think it's needed. I'm not going to complain if we get Musiala, unbelievable baller. Would be a waste. Would be a waste of an allocation of resources. There's so much more we could be and should be doing, in my opinion. Zimac is probably done at City. Probably, Chris. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. It's a bit of a shame. Kuta on a free. I mean, he's a City player, isn't he? He's a City player. Paquetá isn't 10% of what right. I think no, that's wrong. That's really disrespectful to Paquetá. Talent triumphs any again, that's not true. Otherwise, Nitin, PSG would have won much more than they had. That PSG would have won that Champions League when Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe were on the pitch at the same time. They had all the talent in the world. But I tell you what, they didn't have balance. And what did that team achieve? When it mattered most, no, I'm not gonna lie, I don't care about PSG win Liga. What did that team achieve? Nothing. I'm sorry, but that's wrong. That's wrong. It's nothing to do with just getting all the talented players on the pitch at the same time. Nothing to do with that. It's about balance. It's about the squad dynamic. I know we're not talking about England here. England had all the talent in the world, but we played the most flawed midfield that we could possibly come up with. What we should have done was played a much less talented midfielder, i.e. Owen Hargreaves, Michael Carrick, instead of Gerrard or Lampard. And whilst the team would have had less talent on the pitch, it would have been a better team. So that's the issue. That is the issue. Oscar Bowl will definitely get more minutes next season, 100%. Herbert says, I hope we get the right sign so we can play a more suiting system. It's just a club of summer transfer, which is the most important. Yeah, this will be, as I say, this will be a big summer. I'm very, 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 very convinced of that. Hey, I love Branthwaite. I do love him. Musiala and Foden play together. They can, absolutely, but again, it's I just don't think it's preferable. I don't think it is preferable. Why Madrid signing Mbappe if they already have Vinicius Jr.? So by getting the best talents. No, it's not. But I've told you why it's not. Real Madrid still have balance. Real Madrid still have players like Camavinga and Tchouaméni. There is no way. I'll tell you right now. There is no way that Jude Bellingham is going to play as offensively next season as he is this season. Because he won't be able to. Because once again, the balance won't be there. The only reason he's doing that this season is because of the lack of other options for Real Madrid. So once they bring in a proper striker or whoever, then they're not going to be occupying the same zones. That's wrong. That's the wrong way to look at football. It's all about balance. Mr. has another phone reach Everton seem like he wants to leave, and the crux of that, guys, as well, is like they probably don't want to leave. So all this talk about let's go get them is very, I think it's bordering on a bit arrogant. They don't want to leave. Wirtz wants to stay at Leverkusen in the Bundesliga. Musiala is probably almost definitely wants to stay at Bayern. Paquetá wants to join us. It's not, and again, it is a profile who we need more. So it's a thing. Blue Show says, on the Haaland problem, how do you fix Haaland not being able to score when pin teams back? To have 11 players forming a barricade, don't even know if Messi could get the ball to him. It's a tricky one. I don't think it's a problem outside the biggest games. I think that's the first thing to say. Outside the biggest games is not really a problem. I don't even know if it's necessarily a problem in the biggest games because he might not get involved as much, but we all know what he's offering anyway. I think that I think what could maybe go a long way to solve it, obviously, is Foden being allowed to play in the middle, but also having a wide player who is actually going to be able to offer that threat from out wide, rather than having a Kyle Walker out wide or a Gvardiol out wide who just can't offer the same thrust or threat. So they almost know it's not even worth marking them. I think that can be resolved in the summer, 100%. Also bringing a proper Gundogan replacement as well. So far, looks like City signing 5 players. Left back, who is Miguel? Right back, Frimpong. Neves, that'd be lovely. Almost an interesting shout. And does anyone know how much we signed Savio for? Does anyone actually know that? Like, I've obviously seen we've signed him, but I don't actually know how much we've signed him for. Guys, I've got over 100 people watching. Thank you for joining me. Let's get us up to 100 likes. Get it up, you boys. Get it up, you. Hope you guys are enjoying these live shows. Apologies, I haven't done an analysis video on the channel in a while. I'm doing around in like a month. Apologies for that. We have still done live streams, to be fair, but that is my bad. I do need to get back into doing analysis shows. I get an idea to do something, and then I wonder whether that's worth doing anymore. I'm not just going to put out content for the sake of it. Every single video I put out, I want you guys to enjoy. That's probably why I haven't put out a video on the main channel, because it's not been a topic which has buzzed me. So I say I'm not a content farm. I'm not going to put out a video if I don't think it's good enough for your guys' viewing. That's just an excuse for me to say I'm lazy, but you know, I promise it's not laziness. It's because of that. I only want to give you guys good content from our. Every time like a 10-minute video comes out, I want you guys to know it's 10 minutes of pure quality. Love that from you, mate. What do you think about Eze and Elise? I personally don't really know if I want them anymore. I was on the Elise train for a bit of time. For a bit of time, but now I'm not convinced that's the route that we need to go. Pep new 3-5-2 formation next season equals more goals. Once we get more balance, we'll get more goals. I'm very convinced of that. Citizen says, we'll go for Musiala or Verts if the board really want them, or if any club go for them. I don't see any negative from trying to sign them. As I say this, it's my main negative is one of, are they the players that we need the most right now? Or are there other options? Could our resources be allocated more optimally? And for me, that's the crux of this. Of Meta Professor, thank you so much for the super chat. You beautiful man. Branthwaite looks like a young Stones to me at Everton. He's an error in his game. Was 2-footed. Good pass at 88% last year. Quick for 6'5". Do you think that he could be comfortable progressing into the midfield? That's the question. With the first touch and the intricate, very quick decision making. Do you think he can do that, mate? If so, then that could be a very interesting shout. And thank you so much for the super chat. I think that's an Australian dollar. I'm not going to attempt an Australian accent because I can't do accents. So are you, Martin. What will be your dream projects for the channel? More docs or collabs? The docs are tricky. I mean, I did a Colin Bell documentary, and I'm so happy that it did well. But I did it on my own, and it took like months, and I got physically ill from it. And that was just a passion project. I made no money from that Colin Bell documentary because I couldn't monetize it. Partly because it probably didn't feel right to monetize it because it was about someone who's passed away. But also I couldn't do it anyway because of the copyright situation, because I obviously use real footage. So docs might be tricky. Video essays, though, I can definitely do more video essays, like, you know, exposing the Fraudiola one. But yeah, dream docs, I don't even know. Like, maybe like collaborating with like actual like City players, maybe. That would be hype. Tommy Booth, collaborated with Tommy Booth, City legend in the Colin Bell doc. He's a sound lad, is Tommy. City legend. Don't think Diaz is better than Branthwaite as formidable Centurions. As I say, it's nothing to do with the price, it's to do with the profiles. I think Vardy will eventually step into midfield. I think that could be a genuine option. I think he's got the skill set for that. He's so comfortable on the ball. So comfortable. People forget we signed that Claudio guy yet for big money, who will probably join us in 1 to 2 years. Yeah, I've heard a lot about him. Do we know the final confirmation price? What do you plan for when the season is finished? Content wise, asks the Scottish City fan. Well, we'll obviously do transfer analysis. Like you know, I'm not gonna turn into a channel who does like transfer news bullshit every single day. That's not what this channel's going to ever become. I would like to do some retro analysis though. Like, for example, Man City. So for like the younger fan who didn't watch the game. So for example, Man City's 99 playoff win against Gillingham. I would love to, because I can't remember the last time I rewatched that game. I'd love to rewatch it and analyze. You know, in the same way, like, you know, like a City play someone now, and I do my analysis of it. You know, like with my tactical board. I'd love to do retro analysis. Let me know if you guys would be interested. I did it on a poll on Twitter ages ago, and you guys said you'd like it. Can you confirm for me now? Would you like retro analysis? You know, like not just City games, but you know, like classic games. So you know, like that 18-19 game against Liverpool. The 6-1 against United. As I say, the 3-all. Sorry, the 2-all against Gillingham. You know, retro analysis. That might be interesting to see. He's 2-footed. can pass either side, likes the progressive pass. I think it's good potential to play stones, but nothing's guaranteed. Thank you so much again, Off Meta Professor. That's very, 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 very generous of you. Another super chat, which I'll get to in a moment. Thank you for making me a fraud. The Youth Academy says the stuff. Yeah, I don't follow the Academy. I can't lie to you. Maybe I should do more. Hopefully never. Hopefully leaves never. Leave the summer Kova versus Nunes. It's hard. It's hard. I think there could be a really good player in Nunes. This is why it's so frustrating. I think there's a very good player in him, but it is hard to see where he fits in terms of the overall squad. It's very hard to see if we get, let's say we get Paquetá and Bruno Guimaraes, for example. I can see Kovacic leaving either in the summer or next year because I think he was a bit of a stopgap player anyway. So that's not, and he's getting on a bit, so it's not an issue. But if you think of like if we sign those two players, I think we need both of them. We've then got Bob, Rico Lewis, Foden, De Bruyne, Paquetá, Bruno Guimaraes. And where does Nunes fit in all that? It's very hard to see, and I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the answer is there. That's not too much, to be fair. Cover our history. We could maybe do some video essays on that as well. But I might do some like because I don't want to just be an out and out City channel. I have done non-City stuff in the past. Obviously there's an emphasis on City, but I definitely might want to cover other. I need to do more neutral analysis. So I might do other videos on other topics. Sounds decent. Big up to you. Yeah, thank you so much, Off Meta Professor. Verts over Musiala for me. He has the killer pass. I like them both, but again, I'd rather Paquetá. I've been a City fan since I was born, matey. Back in the Colin Bell days. Yeah. Shout out. My nana used to work for him in his restaurant, the Bell Wardroom. You guys would know that if you watch my Colin Bell documentary where my nana makes an appearance, as does Tommy Booth. Alec, yeah. Hello, IFL. Do you think Pep should take next year's trophy seriously, like Community Shield and League Cup, considering it's his last? Yeah, hopefully it's not his last year, mate. Hopefully he extends. This was a mistake, says Rene. The issue, my issue with like the Nunes signing, again, I think there's a very good player there. I think he could be very, very good. But the question, the hard truth, which I think we have to ask ourselves, is this: if we signed Paquetá in the summer, who we were going to sign with, who was going to sign with us, but for the betting situation, would we have brought in Nunes? And I think everyone knows the answer to that is no. So if we get Paquetá in, we've now got both Paquetá and the player who we brought in to sort of be the stopgap. So it's a bit of a tricky one. Yeah, I have no idea about the backup keeper situation. Hopefully Ortega stays. Start listing squad players. Remember, Chelsea is over 50 to first team players. This squad needs to get bigger next season. But remember, Pep likes a small squad. May go to Girona. He's definitely going to go on loan 100%. It would be a waste to have him in the team right now. A waste. Kieran says Kimmich is needed. He can cover Rodri and play in other defensive positions if needed. Give me Bruno. Give me Bruno. Yes, Brett. How you doing, mate? He's a versatile, important squad player. If he's happy with that, that's fine. That's what I'm saying off meta. Yeah, too similar. That's why I don't really, I'm not really desperate for him. Not really desperate. This is devolved into more of a Q&A, but that's absolutely fine. I don't think there's much to talk about. I don't think there's anything else to talk about, to be fair, in respect of the Chelsea game. If anyone can think of anything I didn't cover in the Chelsea game, please let me know. But I think we covered it. We can just keep going with this Q&A situation. 100%. There will be a touchline talk Wednesday morning as well, boys, as there always is. Every single Wednesday, 11 a.m. Join me for that. That'll be the next live stream on the channel. We try to involve Nunes in a Paquetá deal. If that's an option, that might be a real serious thing. Ortega's like signing a new contract. Big up Martin. He's very settled in Manchester. That is huge news if true. That's big. Who's your must signing? Paquetá. That's the one for me. That is the one. Well, him or an 8. Well, I guess technically an 8-6 is more preferable. We need both. They're both on the same level for me. We need both of them equally as important as one another. Pepsi talking about the new Champions League early games coincide with League Cup. Therefore, IDS will play in the League Cup. Surely not, Justin. Unless you're sacked off, that would be quite funny. I wonder if and when England will sack off the League Cup. Because, like, Germany used to have a League Cup equivalent, like a secondary cup competition. That no longer exists. France used to have a secondary cup competition. That no longer exists. I wonder whether England will do away with it at some point. Pep Accenture will hang on what player clubs could give him this summer. He really wants Musiala. But where's that from, though, Nitin? He wants. We know he wants Paquetá. We know he wants Paquetá. He was desperate for him. We know that for a fact. A very quick footy. He's just a lovely man. He's just a lovely man, isn't he? Love him, Ram. I think we need him. I would like him a lot. You can't replace Rodri. It's impossible to replace Rodri. He is the best defensive midfielder in the world by a fair margin. You guys, and I was gaslit. I was gaslit into thinking that Rice had done better than Rodri this season. I was gaslit into thinking that. Crazy. How? Yeah, I don't even get that. It's not really. It's not comparable on any level. I'm a Barca fan. I watch every single Man City match. I support City. Is there anything wrong with me? Am I a glory hunter? Not at all, mate. I don't see why you can't. I don't see why you can have two teams in two different leagues. Why not? Carabao Champions League is now same week next season. Apparently doing away with winter break now from next season. Well, that's mental then. You might have to play children then. I have no idea. Looks like 3 to 4 big signings. How much do you think is spent? What, gross? Well, if I have my way, then we'll get somewhat. Whether it's Bruno Guimaraes or João Neves, they're both going to be around like £100-ish million, aren't they? Then Paquetá's release clause is like 85 million. So we can round that up to like just under 200 million pounds. So that's a start. Then I think we bring in at least one proper attacking fullback. That might be another 50 million pounds. That's easily 250 on 3 players. I think we'll sign at least one more. So yeah, I can maybe see the upper end of that. I can maybe see. Is that mad? I don't know what the FFP situation is. I don't know how much we can spend in respect to profits and sustainability, but gross 300 million. But you got to think about the net. Bernardo Silva probably going for 50 million. Phillips, maybe we can sell him. Maybe. For like, if you want to be really cautious, like maybe you can say that we get 25 million collectively for Cancelo and Phillips. I don't know. Add in Sergio Gomez potentially. Maybe Walker goes. Maybe Kovacic. Maybe Nunes. I think that we can definitely generate sales of at least, close to 100 million pounds. So net, that'd be around 200-ish. And it's never this simple, obviously, because there's wages to account for and But I think there probably is a realistic world where we spend gross like 300 mil. Net is, different story. I don't know what the academy situation is. We might do another madness there and somehow end with a positive net spend. But there we go. We'll sell Bernardo, yeah. Phillips, Cancelo, Gomez. Howard Bellis, yeah. That's probably another 10 million maybe. Delap, that might be 5 million. Yeah, Walker, yeah. Yeah, again, there might be more youth player sales. So when I say we're going to spend 300 million pounds, sounds like a lot, and of course it is, but take into account the sales, and it suddenly comes a little bit more realistic, potentially. Jack. Oh, gosh. I just think that he can perfectly cover for Rodri's deficiencies, Scottish City fan. That's the main thing. He can perfectly cover for his deficiencies and be that perfect partner and fill in for him. That's the main thing. And we know he's good enough to do it. That also helps. Right, yeah, I totally agree off Meta Professor. We were one Rodri away from an... Oh, no, we were one Rodri away from an invincible season. Oh, you mean like because he got red carded? Is that what you mean, IFL? Think he might be the best backup in the world. It could be. He could be. You know, if Lunin might be a shout as well, to be fair, because he's just very good as well. Bernardo leaves, I'll cry. Yeah, we did. It seems like it has been consistent every single... yeah, smash the likes, boys. Shout out to Martin. Every single season we've lost a player who has been at the club for however many years, has been like a club legend, starting from Joe Hart leaving, I think. Like Joe Hart left in 2017, was it? And then Zabaleta left. And then Yaya Toure left. And then Vincent Kompany left. And then David Silva left. And then Aguero left. And then Fernandinho left. Then Gundogan left. So that's 8 years in a row where a stalwart has for City for however many years has left. Now it's going to be Bernardo probably. So we're going to continue this streak 9 in a row. Will it be De Bruyne of the year after that? Are we going to go 10 for 10? Are we going to do 10 years in a row where a legend leaves the club? Crazy. Crazy. It's hard for City to get quality players because they don't want to be subs or play in different positions, and that's why we've got to do rotation plays for Atta, isn't it? Or or what's the word? Utility plays. Oh, Meta Professor, this is very generous of you again. Thank you so much, mate. Really means the world. This. In Paquetá, Kimmich, Wirtz, out Bernardo, and Walker. Let's replace that Kimmich with Bruno, and you've got a deal, mate. We've used on Alvarez, Haaland. Seen lots of not good comments. Haaland's just going through a tricky time. He'll be fine. Alvarez still got a long way to develop. He's a backup striker. He's a very good backup striker. I doubt Tommy Doyle's going to have any chance with this squad, sadly. Which is a shame because both of his granddads, City players, Mike Doyle and Glyn Pardo. His maternal and paternal grandparents were legends of this club, so it's a shame that he's probably not going to be able to make it. It's a massive shame. One thing I forgot, keeping out Fernandinho come back for a coaching role. I'd love that. I love Ferner. Bernardo don't need to have sleepless nights over a pen. Yeah, exactly. He's chill. No legend, says Brett. Well, that's just stupid, isn't it? That's just even if we're like discarding the more modern players, like so many legends, like Colin Bell, Mike Summerby, Francis Lee, Mike Doyle, Glyn Pardo, Joe Corrigan. There's so many. There's like that team from like the late 60s, early 70s. Dennis Chewett. There's so many from that period. Tommy Booth, Alan Oakes. Who else? I'm just naming City players right now, but you see what I mean. And like even players from like in the less good days, Shawnee Wright. Give me that. Distan. Neil Young. Yeah, great shout, Brett. All very important players in City's history. City always make legends, says Alec. Hello, Rich. How we doing? Bernardo this summer and Walker next season. Oh, it might be even sooner than that. Be with Kyle. Has Bruyne got it in his game to do the deep? Now he couldn't do it to the point of being the six and like being a Roger replacement. But in terms of on the ball, 100% he could do. 100% he could do what Pirlo used to do and what Scholes used to do. There's no doubt he's got the passing range for it. He can definitely do it. You need to be protected, but he could definitely do it. Like, Juventus were able to do it with Pirlo. Italy were able to do it with Pirlo. They were able to protect him, but still make him the metronome. He can 100% do that. Kimmich experience overall better version of Rico. Good point. Bernardo's 50 mil release clause. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's probably going to go. Grealish will never accept to be a Doku sub. Well, the good thing is for Atta, we have many games. We have many games So it's not a question of picking one or the other. This is a squad game at the end of the day. Helen the bell, yeah, exactly, Alec, yeah. Ring your bell and all that, yeah. When my mum used to go, she'd chant for Helen to ring the bell. Yeah, I mean, people who say City don't have legends are just ignorant. If someone says that to you, then they've just outed themselves as someone who doesn't know any better. Just because you don't know our legends, and that's your ignorance. It's not our fault that you're ignorant. Yeah, that's your, and that was another reason why I wanted to make that Colin Bell documentary. So, because not enough people know about him, and that's wrong. So yeah. Sven. Big up, Sven. Hello, Andres. What did you miss? Quite a bit of fair, because we've been live for an hour and 15 minutes. We've discussed... excuse me. We have discussed the Chelsea game, obviously. But now we're talking about transfers. We're talking about City's history. We're talking about our potential outgoings. The good thing about these shows is that I like this to be a conversation with you guys. I don't want it to just be... I only discuss super chats. I want it to be everyone gets involved, even if you can't afford super chats or whatever. It's a lovely community we're making here. Bloody Lukaku. Except to watch Oscar Bob's development, people cry because we let Palmer go, but would Bob get these minutes? No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. Palmer would be getting the minutes Bob would be getting probably, and Bob would be nowhere. Which would be a massive shame because he's so good. Yeah, big up to you, Jack. Of course, Palmer missed the Arsenal game tomorrow. That's a massive shame, but yeah, Chelsea probably can't do anything without him. Hate towards City should be discussed, says Bendiv. Well, we are the biggest small club in the world, aren't we? Let's be honest. We are the most cared about, least cared about club. When City get knocked out, did you see how like social media blew up when City got knocked out of the Champions League? When the prospect of us not winning the double treble was presented, they went mental with glee. That is how relevant and big City are right now. That is how you know that they are scared of us. That's how you know they do care about us. It's the exact opposite. They probably care about us more than anyone, really, because it's impossible to not care about us if you're a Premier League club anyway, because we're pretty good at the football. So it's impossible to not care about us. It would be like saying, if you were like, an Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Chelsea fan, whatever, who was around in like the 90s and the noughties, it'd be like saying you didn't care about Fergie's Man United. That's a massive lie. Everyone cared about Fergie's Man United because everyone hated them because they destroyed however many childhoods. And that's how you know you're a good team, if everyone truly hates you. So there's nothing wrong with being hated, but there's a difference between that hate manifesting itself in like, just like people lying about you. Like if there's a hate and it's like, I hate them because they're so good, that's fine. You take it as a compliment. If it's a, I hate you and I'm going to just make an agenda and lie about you, then that's stupid. He's wanted to go for me is if PSG don't pay 50 mil for Bernardo. I'll be shocked as well, mate. I hope we do. I hope we win that. You great on what you do here. Thank you so much, Formidable Centurions. Do you think Mason De Bruyne and Ronnie Foden are... is that his child? Mason. No, yeah, why not? Why not? Rags made me go bald, amazing. Oh, speaking of going bald. Thank you so much, Andrew. For the super chat, very generous of you and very kind. Thank you so much, Andrew. Shout out to you. I know you're a Liverpool fan, so hopefully you do enjoy these shows. I don't want it to just be City shows. As I say, I want to branch out into more neutral stuff, but thank you, mate. Mo and Hassam were talking about Jose versus Pep in the UFC. I think Pep would wipe the floor with Jose quite comfortably in respect of the UFC. I think Mourinho is a little bitch. He strikes me as a little bitch in the octagon. I think Pep has a vicious... You guys know that interview after the Burnley game where it's like, I'm so happy, Happy New Year. That passive aggressiveness. Can you imagine Pep being actually aggressive? He would wipe the floor with him. I'm very convinced of that. Guys, who wins in the UFC fight? Jose Mourinho or Pep Guardiola? Yeah, exactly. That's a very good point. Yeah, Mourinho would go in thinking he can just defend and guard, whereas Pep put him in a fucking arm bar and destroy him. Yeah. He's all talk. Yeah, I think he'd get absolutely battered. Definitely a grappler. Yeah. Oh yeah, because it would be really boring to watch, as City famously are boring to watch. But yeah, definitely Pep would have that one. Love that from you, Daniel. What job Motta's doing? Yeah, it's absolutely crazy, Brett. Absolutely crazy. Shout out to Bologna. Right, we live in their heads. Yeah, 100. It's impossible for City not to be relevant in that case. I don't mind hate. I just mind it when it turns into lies and that sort of thing. There's like Bruno Kimmich over Bruno, cheaper, 12 months left. Win experience, right back, versatility. True. I just fancy Bruno. I think so. You know what I mean. Pep is football. Pep's bald head is more beautiful. What more than mine when I am bald? You like me, bald? We could be. Alec, maybe we are. Taller, younger, weighs more. He's all muscle, that's why. I want my inner warrior. That's crazy, Daniel. That is crazy. It's part of the tactics ruining the game. It's part of football. It always has been, always will be. Shout out MJG. Pep sneaks a split decision. Guardiola will leave City next year. Are you ready for that? I'm going to predict him to not. I'm going to predict him to not leave next year, guys. I'm going to predict him to sign an extension and him to have at least one more year. At least one more year. That's what I'm going to say. Stay bold if you want. I can only go bold with super chats above £2, I'm afraid, or $2, I'm afraid. So I can't be bold unless that happens. So I'm sorry. Formidable Centurions. Them's the rules. Jose will be on guard the whole fight and try and go for a killer blow when Pep is vulnerable, and that will be to his dismay, and that will be to his detriment. He needs to do a full 10 years. Like let's not be silly. Let's not take the piss here. He needs to do a full 10 years. Otherwise, it's not good enough. Yeah, he needs that clean situation. Clean situation. That's got to be at least 10. We always got rumors of player leaving every season, but we know that most of those are BS. Otherwise, you would have thought Aguero and David Silva would stay that long. Well, the interesting thing is, and this is why maybe I love Aguero so much. Guys, name me one time Sergio Aguero was genuinely linked with a move away from City. Never happened. Same with David Silva. Never happened. Because they loved it here and they never wanted to cause an issue. All they cared about was staying at City. That's why I love them so much. That's why they are in the absolute, because there are tiers of City legends and they are in the absolute highest tier of legends. It's sort of like, Scholes at United. No one was truly linked with Paul Scholes because he didn't go out to create rumours or whatever. No one was ever really linked with Aguero. Chelsea were linked for a few days, and City and Aguero basically came out and was like, nah, it's not true. Nah. So, that's why they're beautiful people. What's your viewpoint on the league, even though we could be 6 points behind? Look, it's still in our hands. That's the thing. It is still in our hands. Hopefully they do drop some points. I don't think these players are going to get concerned about the fact that there are games in hand. We know the mentality of these lads. It's all about one game at a time. They'll be absolutely fine. A life contract of Pep, I would love that. 1 year extension seems stressful. Let's do another 7. If only, Herbal. If only. Yeah, look, and this is what I said on the Real Madrid stream, guys. We are currently living the glory days. It's very, very unlikely it ever gets better than this in our lifetimes, because it's a perfect storm. We've got the best manager, and we've got some of the best structure at the club. It's probably never gonna ever get better than this in terms of the peaks of last season. So that's why I wasn't too arsed about getting knocked out of the Champions League, because you've just got to be happy with what we currently have to an extent. I'm not saying you can't complain, obviously, because I've done my fair share of that, but you get what I mean. We are in the glory. Yeah, 100%. Let's enjoy the ride. We are living the glory days. It will never get better than this in our lifetimes. You reckon go invincible after summer signing all goes to plan? Probably not. Probably not. The treble is a ridiculous achievement. So much needs to happen in your favour, and I'm not really interested in going invincible. I'm not really interested in that. I think I've discussed this before. I think the Arsenal Invincibles as an achievement, it's obviously a very good achievement. I think it's cheeky. They label themselves as Invincibles because they lost like 5 games that year, that season, 2 against Middlesbrough. But I think it's an over. For me, I think it's an overblown achievement, personally. I don't know. I'd love to beat Fergie's 13 leagues. Big up, big up. Probably won't happen. He'd have to say for like another, I don't know. How many does Pep have now? Is it 6? He won 2, and now he's on for... No, he's got 5 then, has he? Yeah, he's got 5. So this, if he wins, this would be his 6th. How old am I? I'm 87. Massive hole in my heart as well, mate. Waited for Pep since Barca days. Yeah, and we structured the entire club. We structured the entire club to be perfectly suited for him in terms of like bringing in Soriano and all these other lads from Barca. Al's got more Tottenham than Arsenal lost Champions League, even though we've already won Champions League. Yeah, it's a good point. Always, it's a good point in that respect. Cancelo's done as a City player. I agree. I think Haaland will be here. Yes. I actually don't know, Kyle. I don't know who I've got ideas, but I don't know who the best answer is. To convince we have to start playing for draws. Yeah, and that's why I'm not. Again, that's why I'm not interested in it. I'm not interested in being invincible. If winning will always be more valuable than not losing. Would you rather win and lose or draw and draw? Of course, you'd rather win and lose because you get 3 points on the board. I don't really care about that. Will the Pep leaving narrative bring more trophies than the Klopp leaving narrative? I don't. The good thing about City is that we're set up so structurally sound that it shouldn't be too much of an issue. High points. They had a lot, to be fair. There was 90 something. Not denying they're a very good team, but people trying to put that up with like the Centurions or whatever, or winning. Some people say that going invincible is as good as winning the treble. Yeah, right. Good one. Good one. No. Yeah, I think Haaland will be here in 5 years. Apart from how people think your Klopp's a better manager than Pep. No, it's just stupid. I mean, yeah, that was I mean, for me, it never was. That was a half genuine conversation for some people. The only argument they really had, though, was that, you know, he's done it on less money. But now, if he was able to achieve the same on less money, then maybe there's an argument, but he didn't, not even close. And there's this weird, like, pity situation with... I'm not saying it's all Liverpool fans by any means, because there are many very intelligent Liverpool fans. I see them in my chat, or in my Discord server. But there are lots who claim pauper status and try to suggest that they have not spent any money. Like, bro, Alisson was a world record buy for a goalkeeper at the time. Van Dijk was a world record buy for a defender at the time. Salah, Mane, Fabinho, not Robertson, Wijnaldum, Keita, Salah, etc. All these players costing 30, 40 plus million. It's not like they are. It's not like they were spending pennies. Do you know what I mean? And also, we are going to wrap up in 3 minutes, guys. But stay on the channel because this is going to redirect you to LB's stream where we're doing an LBins. So if you want more chat with me, stay on this channel. We're going to go straight to LB's channel from here. And he didn't even ask me to redirect. I've just done it because I'm a boy, yeah? Yeah, Centurions is brilliant. Yeah, guys, if that Discord server doesn't work, if that Discord link doesn't work, let me know, but it should do. If you want to join our server, click that link. And you can chat to me. I'm in there basically every day. We talk about football, basketball, non-sport related things, random things. It's a lot. It's like a lads group chat basically. Klopp only had 3 major trophies. It's time for crazy. They plead poverty. Yeah, and like maybe like the last thing. If you look at the, I think it's called Blue City Brian on Twitter. He's done a fantastic thread on this on Twitter. Would recommend following him. His graphics are very good when it comes to like financial stuff. Klopp's actually underperformed in terms of like his relative to the wages. So like, so Liverpool have consistently been in the top 3 for wages, sometimes first, sometimes second, sometimes third. But relative to the positioning, he's actually finished lower than the wage amount, more so than higher. A little bit awkward, that. A little bit awkward. Love that from you, Hardy. Thank you so much. Hope you're enjoying the streams. Again, apologies, there hasn't been a proper standalone analysis video in around a month now. Again, that's because there hasn't really been a game or a topic where I've gone like, yes, I want to talk about that. But I'll try to think of one in the near future. Guys, we're going to end the stream here. Thank you so much for joining me. We've had like, what is that? We've got 120 people watching and 116 likes. Do you guys know how crazy that conversion rate is? Like, you know, there are some people who have like, you know, 1,000 viewers and they don't even crack like you know, even a quarter of that like. So those likes. So the fact that we've nearly got a 1-for-1 is ridiculous. It shows. Hopefully, it shows you guys like me. Thank you so much for joining. Stay on this channel because this is going to now redirect to LB's channel. We're going to do LBins. Touchline Talk, 11 a.m. Wednesday. I'll see you in a few minutes, guys. Goodbye.